Napier falls into the acid, and so begins the build-up to what he looks like. There's more build-up to the reveal of Nicholson's Joker than there was to seeing Batman. I mean, that was the one bit of casting no one seemed to have a problem with. Nicholson as the Joker. Of course. And he earned his money doing just what everyone expected him to do. The filthy operating room with his bandages is a really cool scene. I mean, all those dirty medical instruments always made me wince. You know how everyone today complains about movie trailers giving away the whole movie? Well, the first glimpse we get of Nicholson as the Joker was right in that trailer. We all knew when we sat down to watch the movie for the first time how he finally would be introduced, saying, "Call me Joker." Still a great scene, though. I was never completely sold on his makeup, though. They applied these exaggerated, widened cheeks for his constant smile on his face, and at times it looks too weird. It's fine like when he's laughing and smiling. It blends in with his laugh lines and cheeks, but when he's just talking and he's got that V-shaped mouth, it looks like off. I honestly don't think he needed that appliance. Paint him white, stick a green wig on him, and he could do the rest. But the Joker, I don't know what he's doing. He's a bad guy, so he has to kill people and stuff, but there doesn't seem to be much of a plan behind any of it. Like, okay, so he becomes the Joker. He kills Grissom, and he sees the Bat headlines, and we get the quote, "Wait till they get a load of me." So he has the meeting with the bosses to say he's in charge. He wants to destroy the city, starting with the anniversary festival. He pulls guns on them, kills the one guy with the joy buzzer. That's a real fun moment. He becomes the new boss and tells good old Bob the Goon to see what Knox knows about Batman. Even at this point, Knox seems like he'll play a bigger role in this, but he just kind of gets left to the side. The bosses have this little announcement at City Hall, right across the street from that Monarch Theater. So they say they're taking over Grissom's businesses to all the reporters waiting. So it didn't seem like they were going to go with, what Joker told them, so he's going to kill them in this very public way. The scene is stranger the more I think about it. Like, why are these gangsters even entertaining the press? Or why didn't Joker just kill them before? But, this is Burton's fantasy world. Okay. And it seems like the Joker wants some of the attention and press that Batman is receiving, and he's kind of getting jealous, so, hey, let's do this in public while all the reporters see me, Joker sees Basinger's picture. He becomes smitten with her, tosses Knox onto the floor, and so he plans on wooing her. That is after his whacked-out funny commercial announcing he poisoned the products in Gotham City, and everyone will be dying with a huge grin on their faces. We get the museum scene where he's talking about being some kind of homicidal artist. I don't know. This one exchange always seemed like a setup for when he's throwing the money out to the crowd at the end.
My face on the $1 bill.
The twist being that it's going to be his face on the money. It seems like such a given. I don't know if they shot it that way originally and they cut it for some reason, but it sure seems like that's what the point of that line was meant to be. So the museum scene is really cool. Batman falling through the skylight and stuff. The Batmobile looks great. I absolutely love the shot of it as it drives through this creepy fairy tale looking forest. I mean, that is awesome. Batman has his fight scenes and his Raiders of the Lost Ark showdown. He gives Basinger the cure for the Joker's poisons. This really pisses the Joker off. Bruce and Joker show up at Vicky's pad, and this is another kind of bizarre scene. I mean, notice how Joker knows who Bruce Wayne is just from hearing the name Bruce?
Bruce Wayne, n'est-ce pas?
Vicky and Knox should be so astute. There's a lot of these lines and catchphrases Nicholson gives that I think the movie thinks are more clever and colorful than they actually are. A lot of them, they sound kind of hammy to me. One really random thing about this scene that always stood out to me was Vicky's pad is really elegant. It's nicely decorated and all. But she has this big bowl of popcorn sitting on the mantle. I never got that. I mean, just always seemed like an odd accessory.
Jiffy Pop Popcorn. It's the family treat that makes watching TV as much fun as going to the movies.
So, Vicky learns about Bruce's parents being murdered. Again, it's pretty convenient the way the movie does this. The reporters would have to investigate this to find out. I mean, he's the billionaire playboy of Gotham City. Wouldn't his history be a little bit more common knowledge. But okay, Bruce's file at the newspaper was empty. I mean, maybe Alfred swiped it and Gothamites have a short-term memory. Another thing gets added to Joker's agenda when he makes his announcement he'll be tossing money to the crowd for the Gotham Festival.
I have taken off my makeup. Let's see if you can take off yours.
Doesn't it kind of sound like he wants Batman to reveal his identity at this point? I always thought that's what the gist was. But no matter, it doesn't become something the Joker seems to be after. He just wants to kill Batman, I guess. But it's never really clear why. I mean, maybe because Batman dropped him in the acid? I would think that would be a pretty good reason. But it seems Joker's more mad about Batman getting more headlines. I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't like him. It suddenly dawns on Bruce from Napier's cheesy, overrated line that he was the one who killed his parents. I never did care for that, as I think a lot of fans didn't. It's convenient for the story, but I don't even think it pays off doing it. I know Burton was not a comic book fan, so this is his Batman. I got it. I'm okay with it not staying completely true to the comic character. Like, I really don't mind his Batman is killing people here. And I really don't remember hearing many people complain about that. Maybe if we had the internet and message boards in '89, it would have been a viral debate. But it didn't seem to faze anyone. I mean, he is killing people. Even in the finale, I mean, it doesn't look like he's going to slap the bat cuffs on Joker. I mean, he punches him right over the side of the cathedral. I don't know, maybe because it's so otherworldly, Batman icing bad guys is fine for me. Plus, it was the 80s. We were all used to going to a movie and seeing hundreds of bad guys getting mowed down by heroes. Never thought twice about it. But the Joker being the one killing Bruce's parents. Nah, I mean, that one I can't really swallow. I get they were going for the yin and yang thing. Like, you know, you created me, I created you. But I don't like it. When they finally have their confrontation, this fact doesn't really make any more of an impact on it than if Batman was just rescuing Vicky from him. The drama it was meant to create and build didn't even happen. So it seemed pointless anyway. If you're going to do it, then make it pay off big time. Have it add something to the story. You know, but it really doesn't. So the Joker arrives with his parade and his money. The idiot crowd gathers. These people are so stupid. I mean, the guy just poisoned all the cosmetics in town. But they're going to trust him to give them free money. Sure, whatever. The inclusion of the Prince music. It's not for me. I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now. I would have been happier if they had just used some classical music over these scenes. The movie has this timeless quality about it. You know, it kind of supersedes 1989 and becomes a mishmash of decades with the wardrobe and cars and sets. That Prince music has become so dated sounding since then. And I never thought it fit in with any of this even back then. It sold a lot of soundtracks, but never worked for me. This was all pre-CGI, you know, a lot of model work, miniatures, and at times, you know, some of that stuff can look dodgy. I remember several shots looking clunky back when I saw it. Like this one shot of the Batplane going down. I mean, clearly it's a model. But the cutaway to Keaton in the cockpit, it looks so rough. It's like a kid riding one of those rides in front of a supermarket. But most of the stuff works pretty well. The climax at the cathedral is cool. You know, it's a nice moody showdown. It seems like Burton was trying for some kind of Beauty and the Beast connection to happen here, but, you know, it's kind of half-ass. I always got a kick out of Commissioner Gordon trying to move this giant bell on his own. Like, it looks like you would need a crane to move that thing. But he just gives it a few fruitless shoves, you know. Nope, it's wedged in there too well, men. We'll have to give up on this. I kind of view Batman as something of a flawed classic. I mean, there's a lot to love in it. It has awesome atmosphere for a Batman movie. I mean, all the technical components work. The sets, the direction, Danny Elfman's score. At the time, this was something truly unique, and all that holds up. It's a pretty entertaining spectacle to see. After all the trepidation, Michael Keaton was fine as the brooding Batman. He showed everyone a different take on the character than we had seen before. This was much more Dark Knight than Batman, a la Adam West. The costume was certainly a departure from what we saw before. The outfit was somewhat clunky, but, what can you do? I always thought this move was so graceless. It's like the Tin Man trying to punch out a bad guy. Nicholson did exactly what everyone hoped he would do. He filled the screen with a flamboyant, over-the-top performance. Burton proved it was okay to be a heavier, darker superhero movie, that audiences would want to see that. A superhero movie didn't just have to be kid stuff. Oh yeah, and Kim Basinger is in this too. It's a fun, glorious-looking movie experience. I just wish it had a better story that it had to tell. It's adequate and allows for a lot of cool scenes to arise from it, but it deserved a much better one. It's not the story we deserved, but the story we got. We all know when it came out, Batman was a huge hit. The year-long hype and the idea of seeing a big-budget, new, darker take on Batman, it became an event. This opened up the Bat sequels that would come later. As an added bonus, we also got the terrific Batman animated series, thanks to the popularity of the movie. At that point, we might have thought that the superhero genre would surge in popularity and we'd be seeing more of our favorite heroes in theaters. Boy, were we wrong. At the time, it looked like the 90s would be filled up with superheroes on the big screen. Batman clearly proved fans would line up in droves to make a superhero movie a huge hit. They would buy all the merchandise. But oddly enough, for a movie that became such a blockbuster, a flood of high-profile comic book movies didn't follow in its wake. It's strange to think about now. Batman '89 is sometimes described as, the grandfather of the popular superhero movie genre that we're neck-deep in now. They talk about what a revolutionary take it had on superhero movies, the legacy it would leave. Where were all the imitators? Why didn't a lot of Hollywood studios jump on this Bat train and rush to get similar projects made? Where were all the big comic book superheroes in their own movies? Why didn't we see more characters in capes attempting to be the next big summer blockbuster? Of course, some superhero movies were headed our way, but not the amount fans might have expected. Looking back at the trends following Batman '89, it was very similar to what happened after Superman '78. Instead of crops of popular superhero movies, Hollywood would go through their archives and dig up heroes who were popular decades earlier to see if they could mine gold from them in big-budget productions. Kind of a similar pattern happened. It wouldn't be until the 2000s when the gates would truly open for superhero films. Still, 1989 was a momentous year for superhero fans. That whole summer was great. But thinking back on the build-up and enthusiasm for Burton's Batman film, it's hard not to have that sentimental feeling that summer contained one of the greatest superhero movie experiences ever.
Yes, folks, the Caped Crusader is back. Batman will finally make it to the movies.
Tim Burton, only 29 years old when he was hired to direct the feature, came with a reputation for an offbeat way of seeing things.
Making a serious adventure movie out of a property best known as a comedy television series.
It was great, the pow and then the stars.
The movie promises to stick closer to the comic book version, which takes the Caped Crusader very seriously.
I cried for an hour, but then I was okay.
That the new movie will have a much tougher time appealing to the mass audience.
In the comic, he's 6 foot 210, so he's a big guy.
There was a controversy when actor Michael Keaton, who had previously worked with Burton in the film Beetlejuice,
Bruce Wayne is really Mr. Mom?
Extreme secrecy during the weeks of shooting at Pinewood Studios near London.
It cost $2 million to build.
Mum's been the word on Batman.
Nobody's seen the picture. It hasn't been screened.
Are we seeing something straight or something funny? Or something that's a combination
Gag order has been placed on the cast.
And I can't say a word because I'm sworn to secrecy.
I ain't talking.
It's much closer in tone to the original Batman character as he was established in the comics.
The film's producers were concerned enough about fan response to rush a trailer into movie theaters far ahead of
Some
schedule.
fans are going to theaters just to see that trailer.
I love the Batmobile. It looks so cool.
It's just so intense with how he comes.
I'm the Batman.
I'll see it 10 times.
With Jack Nicholson in it, how can you go wrong? Especially his makeup. That's great, man.
This picture, from what I understand, is treated very seriously. It's a dark, somber crime drama.
He's a skin.
Well, wait a minute, we haven't seen it yet.
A huge merchandising effort is going on.
Batman shirts, Batman shorts, Batman toys.
But millions of dollars of merchandise.
On his 50th anniversary, is in for a long ride this summer.
Selling Batman merchandise and making a lot of people happy.
Everybody loves Batman.
As the hype heats up for the June 23rd release of the new Batman movie.
Batmania is here.
Batman! The long-awaited, much-ballyhooed movie is about to open.
The stars who attended last night's Hollywood premiere.
Batman goes zonk or
There's no other way of putting it. This evening, Los Angeles has gone bat.
Finally, Batman the movie is here. This is the film they have been waiting for.
A movie that's going to be one of the real biggies in 1989.
To be among the first to compare the 60s TV series with the late 80s extravaganza.
Holy box office, Batman. Your fans are...
show is now sold out. Special show was a sellout.
If Michael Keaton as Batman, maybe as good as Adam West.
Better, way better than Adam West.
He's pretty cool.
It took 10 years for the movie to reach the silver screen, and it looks like it struck gold.
It took £160 million in 5 weeks in the United States, thanks to a well-oiled publicity machine.
Batman is the earliest video release for a major movie yet, reaching the stores only 4 months after its theatrical debut.
What they were attempting to do and have done is not something I would have been well cast for.
Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press?